Hello. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm Donna Ann Knapp, Small Business Development Manager in the Broward County Office of Economic and Small Business Development, or OESBD for short. As you may already be aware, Broward County is getting ready to launch a new system. It's Business Management System. We're going to be calling it BMS for short. And our go live date is set for January 26th, which is right around the corner. And with it will come some changes that we want to be sure that you're aware of. First of all, our online certification portal that our vendors have been used to using, both for our directory as well as to complete and submit local certification applications for our county business enterprise and small business enterprise certification programs will be transitioning into the BMS system. That means as of January 26th, you'll be able to submit new applications as well as complete your renewals in the new BMS system. In addition to that, some of our compliance functions are going to be transferring into the BMS system. Once the contract is awarded, you're used to the compliance staff in our office contacting you, introducing our office to you, letting you know that we'll be monitoring all Broward County contracts that are funded either through Broward County funding, state, federal funding, and the applicable small business program requirements. We'll be doing the same thing, and it's going to be in the BMS. You're also used to reporting your payments to us on monthly utilization reports. That is now going to be a function that's going to be in the BMS. We're going to be sharing an intro to the system with you today. We're going to go over some of the basics as well as explaining how you're going to be interacting with the new system with regard to reporting payments, verifying payments. So the system I want to add is not just for our small businesses or certified firms. It will be utilized by both prime vendors and smaller subcontractors, certified and non-certified. In addition to the local program certification portal being in there, you'll be happy to know that our federal program is also going to be encompassed within the system. Broward County is also getting ready to complete a DBE ACDBE reevaluation process. Many of our certified firms are aware of this, and we'll be sending more information on how to proceed, and that will be done in the BMS system as well. That'll be another video that will be covering that. Today is our pre-launch training, one of several that we've had leading up to our go live. And as I said, you'll be given an intro to the system. We'll be taking questions at the end of the session, but please feel free to add them to the chat towards the bottom of your screen. You can go ahead and add them in the window, and we'll be taking your Q&A right after the training is concluded. So stick around, and as you think of your questions, feel free to add them. With that, I'd like to get ready to start the video, and hopefully you'll have lots of engagement at the end. We'll be here waiting. Thanks. Bye-bye.
This is the introduction to the system, to the B2G Now system, training for vendors. This training is for new users that can benefit from additional guidance on the mechanics of how this system works. Thank you again for joining. B2G Now is a worldwide compliance software utilized by over 400 organizations, including state agencies, cities, school districts, and even Broward County. Our customers use B2G Now system to track subcontractor utilization, certification, pre-qualification registrations, and more. You have joined this class and in watching this session because you're working with one or more of our clients and are seeking to learn more about navigating the system. Broward County exclusively utilized B2G Now for some of these functions. You may also be familiar with these functions with other areas or other agencies that utilize this system in the state of Florida. This session is intended for vendors who already know. So you're working with Broward County. You can utilize some of the features that you're going to learn today for those other agencies that you work with in the B2G Now system. It's all a joint system, and we'll talk about what some things you want to consider as your system is set up, and also what's common between those different areas. Today in this session, we will not speak on how to find bids for this agency. We will show you if you happen to find it where you can see that information for agencies that do utilize bids, but you'll want to utilize Broward County's standard mechanism for finding bids. From here, we're going to show you a live demonstration utilizing our test site and system. Today, we're going to talk about just general information, account lookup, show you how to look up your account. If you've done any work in B2G Now, chances are you already have a username and password. So we'll show you how to look that up. We'll show you how to request a password reminder. I'll also show you how to add a new user and how to manage your users in your profile. We'll talk about your dashboard, your home page, navigating, so viewing, searching, settings, that general location where you can see everything about your contracts, your certifications, all across the nation. We'll talk about your profile and then ways that you can get help in the B2G Now system. Accounts are created in the system through multiple means. For example, the agency or Broward County can create your account for your contract utilization reporting, the concessions reporting, utilization plan, etc. In some cases, you can create your own account for specific reasons, like the online application if you're coming to be certified. Just keep in mind the URL for each agency that you're working with will be unique, and you'll need to know that information before it gets started. Broward County will share that information with you related to their system. All right, let's go ahead and look at our first step in our first section, which is reviewing our portal, looking up an account, and we're going to search a certified directory. You will start your journey with B2G Now through the public portal page. Each of these portal pages look very similar to this. Any other portal page you'll utilize with B2G Now will look very similar. In the top left corner, you will see the logo of the agency. So in this one, we're seeing Broward County's logo. There is an option to send a message to our customer support or the agency directly through the contact support link. Log in through the system with the login buttons, and we'll show you that. This section here allows you the option to search or sign up for B2G Now training classes. You can look up your account and more. This is dependent on, of course, the agency you work with. So this is going to look a little different and grow and extend with Broward County as they have additional features or module pop-ups that will be available. Now that we've become familiar with the front page of the portal, let's take a look at ways you can look up your account. So we'll start with looking up your account. Enter the business name, tax ID, and even the contact person to find details out about your business. This will help you know if an account is not only created for your business, but also if you have an account already in the system. So you can use any of these parameters. We're going to get in the system in a second, and I will show you some details there. After entering your parameters, you'll click enter, search, and then you'll find those areas. In this example, I completed a search for subflooring. This is a company that I'm looking for. Notice here there's a few users listed. If either of these users are you have the option here to add yourself as a user to this account or request it. I would suggest if you don't see yourself listed here, you would either reach out to either one of these contacts on your business, request that they create the account for you. I will share in a few slides how these accounts can be added and how your account can be added so you can walk your colleagues through adding you to the account. Notice that there are email addresses and phone numbers available so you can reach out to them directly when you click into that. Next, you could also click request new user for entity link. This will send a request to our team to validate and be sure you have the tax ID information for that entity available. So they'll ask you for your tax ID, some other specific information before they add you to the account, which is always best for you to reach out to any one of the users on your account first before requesting access. So let's go ahead and log in here. Let me show you on the portal what this looks like. Okay, so again, this is your portal. You have the access. You see the logo here, you have the contact and support here that's available. So if you click on that, you can reach out to our support. There'll also be contact information for the agency directly. So if you have questions, you can reach out to them directly as well here. Here in the center is the login. You will always choose the enter login button. When you click on that, you'll be presented with the username and password. This username and password, again, is predefined and identified. If you already have a B2G Now system user account, you would just use the same user ID and password. So if you've worked with any other agencies in the Florida area that have a similar account, try using the same username and password. If you forgot your password, you can look it up by going here to look up your password, or you look up your account, or you can click here if you forgot your password. Okay, let's go ahead and see what it's like to look up the account. So again, if you want to look up your account, there's some information here that gives you clearance or clarity. We've also got these quick videos that you can use to help you look up the account, get logged in, so you can see even more help articles and videos. Here, we're going to do a quick search. Okay, so if you just have the business name, you can type that business name in here. If you do have their tax ID, you can also search it here. I would definitely suggest, if you don't see your company, maybe using multiple searches, and if you still don't, then you probably don't have an account created for you on your behalf. Remember, there are a couple of ways in which those accounts can be created. They can be created by the agency, through them creating records for you, or they could be created by you applying for certification. And it doesn't matter which agency. So if you've worked with other agencies in the Florida area, you could have an account created for you. So it's always best to come here and look it up. All right, so I put in my business name. I'm going to click on search here and see if I find any details or parameters, and I do. Okay, so I see my business, Subflooring, and then I can see here there is a few users on this account that's available. All right, so if I select, let's say Lucy was one of the people, or was myself, and I didn't realize I had an account, I can just click on Lucy, make sure that my email is correct and my phone number information. So that looks correct for me. So I can from here either reset my password or reset a contact information change. So let's say that's me, but my email address have changed in my company since I last logged in. You can request that we change that information so that you can get your username properly reset or your password properly reset. When you're sending that reset password information, what's happening is our system is going to give you a one-time password, and you'll be able to then log into your system. If you don't see yourself on this list, I would say reach out to any of your colleagues that's listed here. So I know Kyra Nolan tests very well, and so I am going to reach out to her to help me out or test me or test me. I know them very well, so I'm going to reach out to them to have them add me as a user on the account. So those are definitely ways that you can reach out. Now, if you don't have that information, you can come here to request for entity information, and we'll ask you again. You'll need to fill this out. You'll need to fill out your tax ID, and we'll do a confirmation, and you'll acknowledge, and we'll make sure you get added there. Okay, or ask questions if we need to. So that's one way that you can look up your account. You also have access down here. If we scroll down a little bit, there's this account access section here as well. You can click on forgot password or account lookup in either of these areas. Again, if you forgot your password, you know your username now and you forgot your password, you just enter your email address here in this box, and then we'll send you a link to reset your password. As it says here, it lasts for 30 minutes. It's a pretty straightforward process to complete. Another important feature about the portal page is the searching for certified vendors in the directory. So the certified vendors or certified search will allow you to select all of the vendors, all of the certifications that's available. We're going to use this one as our example as a test as we're still going through adding the certification, the public certification directory to the Broward County system. It's important that once you see that searching feature, you want to read the information at the top of that directory, for there may be some really important details that you want to make sure is clear and understandable. Next, you'll want to add parameters, like if you're searching for a specific firm, you want to add their name if you're looking for them. You also can search for specific NAICS codes or commodity codes for that firm. You can also search for firms within a certain geographical distance. This is really helpful and important when searching for certified businesses for the purposes of doing work with you and counting towards goal, or even just utilizing businesses that have put themselves out there that's ready and willing and able to do work with Broward County or any of the other areas in the region. I like to utilize this even personally for just finding businesses that can do certain things that I might need them to do. So this is a great area where you can search for certified firms, certified businesses. Let's go ahead and do some additional searching. So again, you can search by the commodity code, or what we call the NAICS or the NIGP code. These 4 agencies that do certify, you'll see a very similar look on their portals as well, including Broward County, where you can search for commodity codes. So if you're looking for firms certified in just that Broward County region or all across the state of Florida, you can do these of searches here as well. So you'll click on, let's look up commodity codes, a specific code. So we'll click on look up commodity code. And this will pop out a little box for us to either search for a specific code, so we can type in a number here and search for a specific code, or we can browse a code, okay? And you'll use that as your features. If I clicked on search here, notice I put in this little code, and here it's giving me the list of codes that's associated. And so I can add that to my NAICS code search and then just click on finish. All right, so notice up here, I've added that code in this red box here, and I want to search for all of the firms that have this code attached to their certification, or they've been certified in this specific code. All right. Once you complete that and do finish, you'll have a list of codes that's available. Okay, so this is an example of one of the Florida agencies that have multiple certifications in which they do searches, or they have codes for. And so I did this one as a poured concrete Poured concrete foundation structure contractor, and this is the list that it gave me. So you can go down this list. You can, in some cases, you can download the search results here for the firms that are found with that specific code attached to it. You can also, if you click on the certification itself, you click on that link and you'll see the details, their phone number, their email address, even sometimes the address that you can reach out to that firm. Great for when you're doing bidding, you're trying to find firms to work on your goal. It's work with you on a goal, or just work with you, period. Like, this is a great time, to work with firms and find firms so that you can work with them and do business with them as well. All right, so that's one way of searching. Now that we have an understanding of searching, let's go ahead and navigate to logging into the system and what we see after we log into the system. So after you log in, your home page will consist of your dashboard. Your dashboard allows you to quickly access records such as contract audits or contracts, workforce audits, certification applications, and more. This can be configured for your company or only for those records you are working on. So you also have key actions. This is where you can access your agency certification applications, or if you're working with other agencies across the country, you'll see your registrations listed here as well. You can also take training classes, watch videos through key actions as well. Alerts can be utilized here on your key actions, so you can add alerts to your different records. So a lot of features that's available. Let's go ahead and let's log into the system, and we're going to talk about some of those important areas. Okay, so I'm logged in here as a vendor, and from here I can see again my dashboard. There's your dashboard. You can edit the display of the records by selecting either your company or those records that's only assigned to you. So that's one way that you can configure that dashboard for yourself. Notice here, again, everywhere you work, or all of those agencies that you work with, if you have contracts, those will all be listed here. Audits, concessions, certifications, even questionnaires. Again, if you have that stuff, all of that will be listed right here on your dashboard for you. You also have the actions. So depending on the agency you've logged into, this is where it gets a little different from the different agencies you log into, is where you can see different key actions. This is definitely dependent. So you've logged in here to Broward County, you will see key actions like viewing and applying for the certification for them. Okay, so this is all the welcome page, the information about their certification program. Always suggest you read through that. We won't go through this in detail today. We will talk about it more in the online certification application session class that we have for you, but just wanted to show you the general gist of how to access it. And then you also can take additional standard training classes with B2G Now and watch B2G Now specific training videos as well. All right, you have your enhanced security if you want to turn on multi-factor authentication. We have alerts, and then some additional configuration that you can do. So if you want to change your passwords, you can do that from here. Business information, we're going to go through this stuff in detail in just a moment. There's also system news here, so there's something important for you to know. You'll see that information here as well. And then you have all of our learning resources and everything here on your dashboard. So your home page have a lot of key features associated. The left navigation pane is where you'll access many areas in the system, like your contracts, your audits, view your certifications, approval letters if needed. We have a bunch of other products available that you can see as well here on your view your certifications. The system allows you to search for other vendors, other certified firms within the organization as well, that you're logged into. So this search is very similar to what we did on the portal. It's just a little bit more flexibility and information. So we're going to go back into the system, and I want to navigate some of the options on the left navigation pane and show you where you can see, or what information you can see from there. All right. All right, so we're here, left navigation pane. Again, you have your home. So if you get turned around, you can always click on this home button and it'll take you back to your home page. Let's click on view here. If I click on view, I can see all of my things. All of my certifications, contracts, audits, workforce, concessions, utilization plans, reviews, questionnaires, bid solicitations, prevailing wage, favorite vendors. Again, this is all information here that is related to every single agency that you would work with that utilizes B2. Now, we're going to focus mostly on the Broward County areas that you will want to utilize most, and that you'll have more work in doing with Broward County. So if I click on view my contracts here, it'll take me to a list of contracts that's available for me. Okay, I can see my assignment type. Assignment type just means whether you're a prime, a sub, or a subprime. So each one have different roles. You also see the organizations. So if you have work for Broward County currently, you'll see them listed here. So you can just look at your Broward County assignments or listings. I have some with Miami-Dade here, and so I can see those listings, that listing specifically, or just click on all. You can see based on the status, so you may want to only see those that are open here in the list, and then also we allow you to limit the contract title by alphabet. Okay, and then you can change the contact person, or you can look at the contact person that's assigned. This is that same list that we saw outside of the system when we were doing a little test there. All right, and then do some additional filters. Now, we're not going to get in detail about the contract compliance and the reporting in this session. There is another session that we have that we're going to go deeper into, like how to report the payments. But this is really important to remember when you are looking for specific organization payments and things. This table, you can refresh this table, click these links to refresh the table, or even reset the filters back to base or standard. You can download this entire page. So maybe there's someone in your agency that just wants to see all of the contracts that you have work on across all agencies. You can do a quick download here. It'll download it into an Excel file for you. Okay, and then of course you have your different pages. If you click on view summary, this will summarize all of the contracts value that you have, the pay to date as a prime, as a subcontractor. So this might be something that's useful, again, that you might want to take a screen grab of and put it in some reporting for you personally. All right, same type of look and feel on my contract audits. So one of the big things that you're going to have to do is report audit payments. You can come here to my contract audits to see all of those that are outstanding and need work. Just remember that these statuses are also filterable. So incomplete means that there's work for you to do. Past due is really important to note because those may require some additional intervention by the agency. Again, I will tell you more about this in the next session. So keep in mind of that and making sure that we're reporting our payments and reporting the information. And of course, incomplete or complete means you've done that work and you've completed it. Okay, so that's that audits information. Another one that I like to go over, especially for you all, is my certifications. My certifications lists out the certifications that you currently have. So you'll see here on the current certifications the organization that you're certified with. All right, that's really important to take note and view. Again, this is a shared system so you can see, and we keep it all in one place for you so you don't have to remember 30 different passwords. So if you're certified with one organization and another one that's using B2G now, you just remember one password and you can see all of that there, all of that information here. What I like to point out here is for your certifications, you can add alert dates for yourself to remind you when to come and renew. For example, if you've got to renew or submit an update. You also have access to quickly log into that certification or into that agency. So let's say you are certified and you notice that your renewal date needs to be, or you need to renew your certification, you can log into that agency really quickly from here. All right. The other thing I want to make note of is the reviewing your certification. Let's scroll down here to the bottom. Here at the bottom, you'll see those certifications that's pending for the agencies that you're working with. In the middle here, you'll see the applications you've submitted. So as you submit applications across agency to agency, you'll see all of their certifications listed here and your status, okay? Status is process complete, means they've done their job, the agency have, and your certification is either approved or denied. It really just depends on that status. This here is a great note. If they have questions, if the agency have questions of you, you'll see a response Q&A that's pending. So you'll need to go in and take an action here to respond. Okay. All right. There's another area that I meant to hit. We're going to go ahead and hit it. This is under the current certifications. So I'm currently certified for this, but I want to see my approval letter. Some agencies do have the option to giving you access to that approval letter. This is important, especially if you're going to with the federal programs, if you're going to go and certify in different areas, it's important to be able to access your approval letter. So you can do that by clicking on any of those certified records by clicking view here. Okay, so see here, you have the information about that certification. Now notice we are logged in to Broward County, but this record is not from Broward County. I wanted to just show you an example of what you would even see for Broward County records. So you would see the vendor information here. This would be you as a certified firm. Your certification information, so the agency, the type, the effective and renewal dates. You'll also see any contact information listed here. So this could be, your information there, your address. You'll see your business capabilities and all of your NAICS codes, your commodity codes. So if they've entered in a description, a full description of your business capabilities, you'll see that listed here. All of the details, the general data collection of owner, gender, ethnicity, location, and any other additional information that they want to share with you. You'll see that here. This is what I want to show you. Is when we scroll down here, we'll see the letters and certificates that they've provided for you. So you can see and download any approved letter. So if you click on view or download, you can download that letter and just have it as your own reference in your files or make it available to other areas if you need to. Okay, so very easy peasy. If you see something on here that might need to change, some of the agents you work with allows you to make a change request. And so submitting a change request will allow you to identify or notify those agencies you're certified with to making a change, okay? And this is that business information that you can add in. So if you need to update your phone number, your address, just be very careful if you are changing your address that you're still within the agency's parameters of certification. So you want to make sure you follow their rules and requirements there. If you are outside of that jurisdiction, they may require you to make some, submit a different type of application. So that is how you submit that change notification. Okay, so those are all of the view areas that I wanted to share with you today. Some other areas on this left navigation pane is searching. So you can search for vendors, you can search for your contracts, you can search for certified firms. Certified firms will be only those that the agency you're logged into, you'll see their list of directories they're connected to. So if I click on this search certified vendors, you'll see a search parameters that's very similar to the search parameters that you saw on our public portal. See, notice here you have that commodity code. You also have zip codes that you can search for, or even just the full state or city that you can add searching to. Okay. When you're searching for certified firms, certifications here, you can select specific firms, specific areas. Oh yeah, we've got Miami-Dade County in here. We've got Greater Orlando Aviation Authority, different agencies that you can do searching for to find firms in that region or that area. Okay. All right. So that's the different searches. So once you do a search, you just click on search and it'll send you to a list of firms. Let's just do one anyway. Let's see what Broward, we're going to use, and I'm going to unselect this and I'm going to select let's use, let's use Greater Orlando. Let's see if there's any firms in the Greater Orlando directory and click on search here. Oh, we don't have any firms that's in that field. Let's remove the word Broward here, and we're gonna still keep Greater Orlando, and it's going to pull in all of those firms that are certified in that area. So just as with the companies that we did the search on the portal here, if you click on either their agency and type or click on their business name, it's going to take you to their profile information. So let's use this one as a good example. So if I click on this profile information, notice here I see their email address, their phone number, their fax, their address. I can also quick view their profile. So let's click on quick view of their profile. We're going to talk about this in just a second as it relates to you as well. But notice here they have their phone number, they have that information updated, their address, they have some other vendor information that's here. We see they've been a vendor since 2011. That's cool. Here. And then they can also fill in like their payment methods and return policies, just some other special details about them as a vendor. And this is just their general profile. So it has nothing to do with their certification. It's really just their profile details that they've added themselves. Oh yeah. Notice here you've got your hours. So how their hours of operation they have listed here on their profile. Okay. We also can see in some cases their certifications or business highlights if they've added them. So any certifications that they have, we see that they're certified with GOA here. We don't see their effective renewal date because that's only visible for them, but we do see their certifications. And so we can click on view action and see again that address, that phone number, and see what commodity codes they're certified under. And if you need to or would like to work with them, you can work with that firm. All right. So that is searching for certified vendors. Again, you can search for contracts if you need to, whatever's available there. So as I showed you just a second ago how the vendors have their profiles updated, I want to now show you how you will update your profile so that same type of information is available in your B2G Now system. So you can go to the left navigation pane here, click on settings, and go to general biz info, as well as you can get to this from your home page too. Keeping these items up to date keeps your data fresh. So when vendors, again, are searching, like I just showed you how you could search, or even when the agencies are trying to communicate to you, these details being up to date helps make sure that they can contact you. Your public profile is viewable, again, internally to other vendors. This gives them, or this gives you the opportunity to quote unquote sell who you are as a vendor to other vendors. So you want to keep that public profile updated. So that's that public profile that I showed you in just a few seconds ago. All right. Keep You also will be responsible for keeping your users up to date and current. All right. So at the beginning of this presentation, I showed you how to look up your account, find contacts on your account that might be able to add you as a user. For them, this is how they can add you as a user. They would go to this users tab here, click on add user, and they can add you to that account. All right, let's go ahead and log into that general biz, look at that and see what's awesome and available there. All right, so I'm going to go over here on my left navigation pane, and I'm going to go to settings this time, and I'm going to click on general biz or biz info. All right, you have your business information here under this general tab. So this is your business name. If you have a DBA name, you can add it. Your general company email. So this could be just one user, maybe the primary owner's email if you don't have another general business, but you'll want to make sure that's populated, as well as the phone number. You can add websites, fax numbers if you have that. You also can add some additional identifiers like Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn links here if you have them. You can add that. Your company type. Definitely suggest keeping that up to date and accurate. And the reason why you want to do that, because this information pulls into, some of this information will pull into your online application when you get ready to apply for certification for the various agencies. So making that updated here allows you to always pull in the accurate information, and you don't have to retype and type things over and over. Okay, so address is the same. You can make sure you've got your physical and mailing and billing address and shipping address identified appropriately. You can add as many addresses as you need to here. And you're like, well, how do I add those different addresses? I'm glad you asked. If you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see this all organization address, and you just simply click on new address here. Okay, so you'll enter in the address line 1 here, all of the city information, and you just simply click save. And that's how you add in a new address. Okay. All right, and then you'll select it from your list. You can select it and click save changes. When you've made adjustments here, the system will ask you to just save the changes, and you'll just do that. All right, the public profile. This is where we showed where you can update your hours. Again, this is where you want to kind of sell yourself, like what time does your business open and close. Again, this is available to anybody that search and find you, so it's always good to update this information as well. All right, so you see, go through the details here. Pretty easy and straightforward information. Okay. So the next tab up here, you will have your users. Again, this is where you come to add additional users to this profile. So if someone reaches out to you and say, hey, I need to be added to the business profile, you can do that. You can log into your system, come here to settings, go to general biz, and click on users. You also could come here and add users on your under settings. So either place will take you to the users. It's really easy to add a user. You'll just click on this add user button here. And from clicking on that, you'll fill in any area that has a red asterisk. That's required information. So you'll need to enter their name, their username, their phone number, and then just select the addresses that's appropriate or applicable to them and identify the appropriate time zone. Okay? Once you've done, you want to make sure, especially if you're adding a new user, you want to make sure you click this button, notify them of their username and password. Okay? Sometimes they may have a challenge with their email. It could go in their junk. So I would also suggest that they check their junk email address. Once you've created this account, they have an account in the system and they can do the whole account lookup thing just like you did and reset password just like we showed you early on in this presentation. Okay, so those are some top settings that we certainly suggest you get accustomed to and you look at. All right, one last thing that I want to make sure that we go over with you, and that is getting support or adding contacts. Sorry, adding contacts. There's two more things, not one last thing. Adding contacts is very important because there may be different users in your agency that report or is responsible for different things. So Lucy may be your main contact. One person may be your main contact, but then your contracts contact could be somebody different. Or your utilizations plan contact could be somebody different. So you'll want to make sure that you add them and associate them. If you know that up front, I would suggest first creating their user account and then coming in here and selecting them as as your specific primary contact. Okay. You have contacts for all of these areas. Certification. You have primary contacts for let's see, sales, invoicing, prevailing wage, if you have that, in insurance risk management, if you have that or have the requirements to report those things. So make sure you come in here and you update your main contacts. Okay, so those are those areas. All right, now one last thing that I want to draw your attention to before we close this session out. There are help and tools here on mostly every screen. If you click on it, you'll see this blue bar at the top. From here, you can contact customer support if you need help. Look at some of our training classes, our standard training classes or videos. You also have access to that information under help and support here. So you can contact our support here. You can look at some of the training classes. There are videos that we provide. There will be also some Broward County specific videos that's available here in your library as well. So you can see all of those things, watch additional videos if you need to. Down here at the bottom, you can also, again, contact our customer support. So some support items will go specifically to the agency that you're working with. So in this case, Broward County, you'll want to just go ahead and select that topic. So you'll select the topic. So let's say that you're having a problem with certification questions. Maybe you want to review those. You can potentially go there. It doesn't look like they have a lot here that will go directly to them. These areas here will go to the B2G Now support. So if you're looking for more information on your business profile, you need help there, you just select that topic and it'll go to our support. All right, and then you'll reference, add in a message, subject, add in your message. Please be as detailed as possible, and then you simply submit. All right, down here at the bottom as well, there's some translations. So if you need help with translating the screen, we do utilize Google Translations to translate the screen here, so you can make those changes if you need to, or reset them. We went through so much, so many areas in which you can get help. You can update your or look up your account information. Remember, from the public portal that Broward County is going to give you, you'll be able to see look up your account, look up your username and password. You can even see if you need to add new users to your account from there. Then we logged into the system and I showed you the home page, your dashboard, even how to navigate in those different menu areas. I showed you how to search, how to view. Then we talked about managing your profile and why it's important to keep your profile updated. And then lastly, I showed you how to get help. Thank you again for joining this session and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the B2G Now training for compliance reporting for vendors. This training is for prime contractors, subcontractors, or subprime vendors looking to report utilization. Before we begin, please ensure your cameras are turned off and your phones are muted. This class will cover everything you need to know about compliance reporting from within B2G Now as a vendor, starting with account lookup features to access your username and password if you don't already have them. We'll look at account notices that you'll be receiving if you are a prime or sub on a contract that is being monitored within B2G Now. We'll cover our rapid reporting feature and how it can help streamline your reporting as a subcontractor. Then we'll dive into the system and walk through reporting actual payments, the messaging features we have to communicate with your subcontractors or Broward compliance officers. We'll look at important dates that you should keep in mind, like audit due dates and lock dates, and how to contact our support team and access additional tools should you encounter any obstacles along the way. If this is your first time using B2G Now, we are a worldwide compliance software utilized by over 400 organizations, including state agencies, cities, school districts, and DOTs. Our customers use the B2G Now system to track subcontractor utilization, certification, pre-qualification, registration, and more. You've likely joined this class because you're working with Broward County and are seeking to learn more about navigating their business management system powered by B2G Now. The system is intended for vendors who have already identified the agencies they intend to do business with or intend to certify with. This class will cover specifically the actions related to reporting compliance utilization as a prime or subcontractor. So for example, if you're working on a new project with a prime and they've asked you to attend this training, you should be aware of the government agency that the prime contractor is contracted with. If you're a certified firm working as a sub to meet the contract goal, you should already be certified or currently in the process of becoming certified. If you've been asked to do work on a project and you are not aware of the details, please be sure to reach out to the contracting agency as soon as possible. Please note that there are 3 points that we will not be going over in this class that I just want to ensure that everyone is reminded of. Unfortunately, we will not be training on how to find bids for agencies, as this is not represented within Broward County's management system. We will not be going through what your next steps would be if you are becoming certified currently, and we will not be providing a list of current B2G Now customers. That said, if you have any questions about items, please contact our support team and we will be happy to assist you outside of this class. As a quick reminder, businesses may already have accounts with B2G Now, even if you don't specifically. So if you have been asked to report payments and can't remember your username and password, you can request this through the account lookup section on Broward's public portal, or simply use the forgot password section if you know your business's email address but don't know the password. It is a straightforward process, but if you need additional assistance, please be sure to review our Introduction to the System training or contact our support team directly. Once you've logged into the system, you'll be able to take advantage of our contract compliance audit process. Audits do open automatically each month, and Broward County staff will have imported any sort of payments that they have made to their prime contractors on every contract. Primes will be notified by email that these payments have been submitted, at which point they'll need to enter payment data for their subs. Subcontractors will then be notified by email and they will need to confirm or reject the payment data that's been reported. If they confirm, the audit is complete until the next month. If they reject, the prime and sub will both be notified of a discrepancy via email, and the cycle will begin again. Primes will need to review the discrepancy that subs have submitted and either confirm it or deny it for accuracy. Once that's done, subs will be able to come in and re-review what the primes have submitted, ideally confirming that the correct amount has officially been reported and the audit is complete. If for some reason the discrepancy continues, Broward County staff will always be overseeing the process and can assist where needed. Looking at our notices that we'll be receiving throughout that audit cycle, the prime contractor audit notice is a notification that is sent to prime contractors when it is time to report contract payment information for a specified period. The notice includes key details such as a check number as the identifier for the audit, an audit title being a descriptive name for the audit, often including the contract name or number, the reporting month being the month for which payments need to be reported, and this notice aims to ensure that contractors verify their payment records against the system's records for accuracy. Prime contractors must review the notice and prepare to log into the system to complete the reporting process. The subcontractor audit notice is sent out after payment has been posted in the system. It requires subcontractors to review and confirm the reported payment. The notice identifies the contract in question and provides links for subcontractors to log into the system. Many organizations now allow subcontractors to review and confirm or correct the reported payment amount without logging into the system. If the notice includes this option, subcontractors can use the audit code and audit PIN provided in the notice. These are embedded alongside a link that allows access to the payment report directly. For those who prefer to log in, the notice also includes a login link located below that code and PIN section. Subcontractors can choose either method to review and respond to the payment report. If you choose to access the payment report via the Rapid Reporting link, you'll be prompted to select one of two options. You can either use Rapid Reporting or log into the system to review and report. If you choose Rapid Reporting, the system will request your audit code and PIN to proceed. You can enter that audit code and PIN as provided in the notice, and while the system may autofill this information, always verify that the fields are correct. If the fields are pre-filled, validate the information before continuing. This ensures the system operates smoothly and avoids errors. If you choose to review the payment report, after entering that code and PIN, the payment report will open. You can review the information carefully and please verify the payment amount and payment receipt date match your records. You will need to verify whether the payment details are correct or not. If the payment information is correct, you can select the correct option. Additional fields will appear to confirm the date you received the payment and whether it was a full or partial payment. If for some reason the payment information is incorrect, you can select the incorrect option and then enter the correct payment amount and any other relevant details. The optional fields that you might see is where you can add public and/or private comments as needed. If required, you can also upload supporting documents to validate the correction. After confirming or correcting the payment details, you can check the box stating that you understand you are submitting accurate and correct information and submit the form to complete the process. Should a discrepancy be found and you've corrected the information that the prime has reported, instructions will be provided for resolving that issue. But at this point, if you have marked that payment as correct, the audit is now complete. So let's now log into the system and see the process for reporting firsthand as a prime. You can always access any audits directly from Broward County's public portal page. You'll be prompted to log in using the vendor login button, and as you do, you'll be brought to your dashboard where you can review any contract audits that you may be experiencing as a contractor. Here you can see we have a number of different audits under various statuses. We can see the total number of audits that we have, incomplete audits, audits that are due soon, and any past due audits. We can click into any of these at any point to go directly to those audits with that status. But if you'd like a total line item view of every audit you have, you can just select contract audits. When you do, you'll see here that we do have all of these audits, but we can also filter by status. We encourage you to use these filters so you can properly keep track of your audits and what needs to be done. For instance, if we have any past due, we may want to filter these so we can see those and take care of them. If we're up to date and don't have any past due audits, we can see what's due soon and go ahead and enter those as well. For now, we'll be going back to all of our audits and we'll be completing this October 2025 audit. You can see that the agency has already reported what has been paid to the prime. So it's up to us as the prime contractor to report what we have paid out to our subcontractors. Once we've clicked into our audit notice for October 2025, we'll see some basic audit information like that compliance audit period. So you always know the period which you're reporting, as well as the date and time it was posted. Under compliance audit actions, we'll see the specific actions that we are meant to take as a prime contractor. You can see our category here, we're acting as a prime. Our action required is that we need to report one subcontractor payment. We do have our due dates here as well. You can see that this will be due by the end of the month, and our audit lock is set for 90 days out. If you do come to the point where you hit a deadline or your audit locks, you can request an extension, and we'll see what that looks like in a moment. But this information will always be available for you for reference. Before we actually go into this action that's required, I do want to point out our messaging features below. So if you do have any questions and you need to contact either the compliance officer or buyer project manager for any further information, you can message those contacts directly in the system. When you aim to message them, you're brought to our message board where you can send a message to them and compose it. The user here is going to auto-populate as that compliance officer that you're trying to reach out to. You can add any additional emails here and separate them with commas. It's like including someone on copy. You can change the message subject, but we do auto-populate one for you, so it's completely up to you how you want to draft this. And then we can also just add a message here. We can say we're seeking further information. And if we need to get our point across or add any additional details, we can attach any files. These files would be available for download from the system and available within this contract record. So these will stay within the system here. If you want to come back to this, we can always save a draft. We can just review the message before sending. When you review the message before sending, you'll see all of the information you've entered, and then you can select to send. When you send, your message will be sent, and a copy will be saved to their accounts. From here then, let's dive into our compliance audit action and report our payment to our subcontractor. When we select this link, we're taken directly to our audit page for this audit. You can see the compliance audit status is in red. This is not complete, and there's one sub-response to be submitted. Again, we'll see that reporting deadline and the audit lock date available here for you. We'll see that compliance audit period, so you're always reminded of the payments that you're reporting for what month. The payments to prime and what was submitted as represented from the county, and if this was marked as a final audit or not. You do have the ability to mark this audit as final, but typically this will be marked by the county ahead of time. Our compliance audit summary tracks all audits from up to today in this current period. Since we don't have any other audits in the system right now, this is fairly blank and you'd be able to see your payments right here for credit. Further down then, we have our subcontractor payments and where we can report. Here on this contract, we only have one subcontractor, but you would normally see a full list of any of your subcontractors down here. So even though we're seeing one, you may see any number of subs here, but they're all going to be in a comfortable line item view for you. The action we want to take is our submit response piece right here. When we select to submit a response, we're brought further into the audit where we again have the audit information in terms of the audit period and a compliance audit number should you need to reference this in any sort of support correspondence. We have our subcontractor information, so you know exactly who you're reporting for, their subcontractor name, their vendor number, again, that can be referenced for any sort of support information, and their subcontractor tier. They are a tier 1 sub reporting directly to this prime contractor. Previous payment information will also be represented. This is the total paid through up until this point. We are, again, reporting for October, so this is paid up through September, and the amount paid for the last audit. Since the last audit was not reported, it is marked as $0. Audit information below is where you will actually begin to report this information and what you paid to your subs. We can fill in the amount paid for October 2025. Let's go ahead and say we paid $10,000. We can choose the paid date. Since this was in October, we can say they were paid on the 17th of October. We can see if prompt payment was made. So we'll select a choice and prompt payment must be done within 10 days. We can say, yes, the subcontractor was paid within 10 days of this prime contractor being paid by Broward County. Or no, the subcontractor was not paid within 10 days. Final payment to the subcontractor can be marked. We can say, yes, this is the last payment and their work is complete, or we can leave it blank if they are needed for future audits. Any sort of pay details can be entered as well. So that could be paid check numbers or amounts for 2025. This information is optional, but will speed up the confirmation process. So it's always encouraged that this information be entered. And this will be visible to the subcontractor that you're reporting on. You will need to submit any sort of supporting documents. So any sort of payment details that you can provide or anything else should be attached here. And any comments are optional. And these would only be visible to your compliance officer. They would not be visible to the subcontractor. Once we've entered this information, we can select to review. We're given all of that information and the data reported in a comfortable line item view, and then we can select to save. When we select to save, this information has been entered and we can return to the compliance audit. From here, if we scroll back down, you can see now that some payments have been made. So we are tracking fairly well. We can see now we are above our goal and our for-credit progress has moved from 0 to 10%. Further down in our subcontractor payments, you can see our actions are complete. The payment amount for October 2025 has been reported here, and our pending confirmation by sub is sitting here as well. So now the next step would be to have our subcontractor confirm this payment is correct. If for any reason your subcontractors have a $0 payment for that month, you are able to mark any remaining subcontractors as a 0 payment. If you select this button, it would just prompt us to be able to move forward. Say you have 20 subs and you only paid 2. Instead of going through each 0 payment and marking them as each, this is just a quick streamlined feature that can help you mark those payments as 0. Now that the prime contractor has entered this information and we're pending our confirmation by our sub, let's go ahead and view what this looks like from the subcontractor's side. You can see here I'm logged in as a separate vendor, and we are logged in as our sub that we've reported for in this contract. We'll use the same information and go to our contract audits. And you can see here now we have an incomplete due soon audit from October 2025 for our Broward County training contract. When we select this audit, our information is the same. We have our October 2025 audit period, and our date posted is also identical. The thing that's going to look different now is our audit action. You can see the category, instead of being a prime contractor, is our tier 1 subcontractor to our Broward County test vendor 1. And action required is that the sub must confirm the payment received. Their due dates are still listed here, so subs will still have a good idea of when this is expected by them. But if we click into this action required, you can see here we're brought to another audit page. Once again, we have our audit information. We have the previous payment information and the total that's been paid to them for October 2025. We have the prime information, should they need to reach out to the prime contractor, and the prime payment information and the amount that was paid to the prime for this month. Further down, we have our compliance audit information that the sub will need to confirm or deny if this is correct. So we quickly can see here in bright red, we have a $10,000 amount that was reported by the prime contractor for October 25 as paid to this sub. The next request is that they confirm this reported amount. If we select that is correct, we can add a payment date. We can also ask and determine prompt payment. So prompt payment means that they were paid within 10 days. And you can say, yes, we were paid within 10 days, or no, we were not. If for some reason we choose to mark this as incorrect, if we're marking incorrect, we're saying that the information that the prime reported is not accurate. We can say we received no payment for October 25, or we can say we were paid a different amount in October 25 than reported, which was $10,000. If for some reason there was a typo, say we added a 0 here and you were actually only paid $1,000, you would still need to report your payment date. So we can come in and say we were paid on maybe the 24th. And were they paid in accordance with the organization's prompt payment policy? We can say yes. So even though we're reporting a different amount, we still need to know the payment date and if they were paid promptly. From here, we can also attach any files. We have any public or private comments that exist. So public comments would be visible to both the compliance officer and prime contractor. Private comments would only be visible to the compliance officer. And you can receive a confirmation of your response. You'll need to confirm that you're submitting this form with the information that you have to be correct and accurate. And then you can go ahead and save this audit. We will need to be required to enter any private comments, so we can say that this discrepancy missed a 0, and we can save. From there, the audit response has been saved, and we can return to the audit notice. You'll see here that we have some action to resolve that discrepancy. And so if we go and click into this, you can see that we're now awaiting our prime and subcontractor response. Further down, we again have that audit information, and we have the original compliance data that was reported. You can see the amount that was reported by the prime, the $10,000, the amount reported by the subcontractor, the fact that they added an extra 0, the payment date that the prime reported, the payment date that the sub reported, the payment detail. So again, those check numbers and any amounts are very helpful to have for this information. And the subcontractor's comments. As we're viewing this as the subcontractor, we are able to view these. We'll see this in a moment from the prime contractor side and review this discrepancy. These comments will not be visible. You can see here that the resolution data that's been reported, nothing has been seen by the prime. There's been no new amount reported, and the subcontractor has not yet confirmed that new amount because there is no amount to confirm. We have our compliance officer information, so if at any point you need to message them and discuss this discrepancy, you can message them directly in the system, the same as we showed you earlier. We have our prime and subcontractor information, as well as the prime and audit response by the prime, the compliance audit response by the subcontractor, and our discrepancy responses. So we have yet to respond, but all of this information will slowly begin to fill in. Back under our prime account, we can see now that the subcontractor has rejected what we have reported, and we're able to resolve this discrepancy. When we select to resolve this discrepancy, we're going to see much of the same information that we just saw. We'll see that the resolution is awaiting the prime and subcontractor response. We'll see our audit information. We'll see our original audit data reported, as well as any other resolution data reported, compliance officer information, and additional contractor information. If we go back to the top and select to resolve our discrepancy, you can see here we're given proper steps to be able to solve this problem. The discrepancy resolved, we can mark either yes, the original report amount reported by the prime is correct, and that the sub has actually misreported and misconfirmed. We can say yes, this was actually our mistake and the subcontractor is correct. At that point, we can adjust the date that the subcontractor was paid. So we can go ahead and say maybe they were paid a week later. This was actually done by mistake. And yes, the subcontractor was still paid promptly. We can add any sort of public or private comments again, public being visible to any contractors and compliance officers, private comments being only visible to the compliance officer. We can attach any files that may help resolve this discrepancy, and again, receive a confirmation of your response, have a paper trail. We'll save our response. And you can see now we have a green banner saying the response is saved. And further down, the discrepancy is now resolved. No further action is required. This is because we marked the subcontractor's confirmation as correct. Further down now, under our resolution data reported, we can see there is a new amount reported by the prime that is the $1,000 that the subcontractor had agreed upon and mentioned. The subcontractor is that reported information, and the final amount agreed by both parties is $1,000. You can still message the compliance officer, but they'll be able to see all of this information and have this oversight. We still have our prime and subcontractor information here, so if anyone needs to contact anyone, we can just select the contact information and compose a message. And then we have our compliance audit response information. So again, this is the responder for each audit and who responded from each business, and the responses as well. The important part here is the discrepancy response. And we can see here that the responder was auto-resolved from the prime's response and the response date. So we have a full review of information that we can review to make sure that those discrepancies are thoroughly resolved, when they were resolved, and by who. Back on the subcontractor side, we can see the same thing. We have our discrepancy resolved. What was reported by the sub as correct was actually correct, and there's no further action needed by the subcontractor. Back in the prime's profile, I want to take a moment to review the tabs that we have at the top of the screen. These are going to be your main nodes that you can come through and navigate through a contract record using. Our contract main gives you simple contract information like the title, number, a start and projected end date, as well as the contract value and compliance officer. You can see here we have user assignment, so you are assigned as the prime, and you are able to change your compliance contact people. If they're listed as users in your vendor profile, you're able to select this dropdown and adjust the names if you have any additional primary or secondary users that you'd like to assign to this contract. You have simple buttons to assign and view your subcontractors or a compliance audit list, and we'll see where those can also be accessed from the top of the screen. You also have your contract status and actions. You can see this contract is open. You're able to view the contract. There are no change orders here or any sort of extensions or shortenings that you might have. If you go to view the contract at the top of the page, you have the same thing in a bit more of a comfortable line item view down to the prime contractor information, PM information for additional use, as well as a contract summary and contract goals that you may need to be aware of. Our subcontractors tab will take you to a full list of your subcontractors. You'll be able to see them by name, whether or not they're certified, their current award, the type of subcontractor, whether or not they're included in a goal and which goal they're included in, and whether or not they're being audited for their compliance, and if they're included in those compliance audits that we just reviewed. We can see if final payment has been done, and then we have some additional actions that you're able to take. If you would like to add it to your sub, maybe substitute this subcontractor or remove them fully from this contract, you are able to do so. However, if they are being counted for credit, this process is subject to authorization by Broward County staff. If they're not being tracked for credit and they are not certified subcontractors, you can simply remove them, substitute, or add them at your leisure. But anything that is tracked against the goal will need to be reviewed by staff and by your compliance officer. The compliance audit list pulls in a full list of the audits that may be relevant to this contract. We just completed our October 2025 audit, so you can see here the status says completed. You have an idea of what's been paid to you as the prime contractor, as well as the date that it was posted. You can view any of these audits directly from here, so if you're coming in and submitting audits from past months, it may be easiest to come through and from the audit list, just come through one at a time. And if you view this audit, you can see we're taken directly back to our audit notice page where we can take action from our audits action section. Our compliance audit summary page is again that total contract summary that shows you all of the information for your participation. You can see it tracks all of your payments that are for credit and any sort of for credit goal requirements that you might have. You can see that we are tracking below this goal, but this is a snapshot of these goals. So as you continue to mark your payments, these numbers will adjust. And this is a great place to be able to see if you are meeting any goals or not. From messages, we are able to see any messages that we have sent and shared within the system. If you remember, we did send a message to our compliance officer. We said that we were seeking further information. You're able to view this. You can see the date that it was sent, as well as who it was sent from. Any comments as well can be added, and this is just kind of a catch-all page for any comments that you'd like to add to a record. If you decide to add comments, you can add it as maybe a standard comment, or if you have further follow-up that you'd like to just work through, you can add a comment with a due date, as well as add an alert for this comment. So if you'd like to maybe be alerted about this comment at a certain point to chase up on an item, or if you just want to make a note on the contract record, you're able to do so here. We do also have some reports available for you. The main report being our subcontractor audit response status. This report allows you to see all payments to prime and subcontractors for this contract and allows you to see them by audit period, subcontractor confirmation status. So you can pull a full report of all confirmations for all audits to see where your gaps are and what you may need to follow up with your subcontractors about. If you have any additional questions or are looking for additional tools, everything can be found under our Help and Support tab on the left-hand side or up in the right-hand side through Help and Tools on our bookmark. Through Help and Tools, you're able to contact our customer support directly or access our training classes and videos. On the left-hand side, again, you're able to contact support, see our training classes, find our document or our video library. Under our video library, you can see we have a number of trainings that are available for you. The most applicable here being our contract compliance reporting. But again, we have a number of different items that you're able to use for continued education. Under our training classes, we do have available additional training classes for you. So if you'd like to join any classes, these are run by B2G now and are available for you at any point. You just need to RSVP to them and you'll receive a confirmation email to the registration point that you worked with. If you'd like to contact our support, you can simply add a topic, a message subject, and a message, as well as any sort of attached files for further details. And our support team will reach out to assist you with any other information that you may need to work through. So in summary, and looking at what we've reviewed today, we have looked at how to access your account should your business have a profile, but you're curious about your username and password reminders. We've looked at audit notices for primes and subs, as well as what those look like through logging in or using rapid reporting for subcontractors. We've looked at how we can report payments and walk through the audit process in full to confirm or correct the amount as well. Through that, we've seen the discrepancy process and how we can report and confirm and resolve any sort of discrepancies that may come up. We've looked at how we can send private messages to compliance officers, as well as private messages to subcontractors and public messages for all parties. We've reviewed audit due dates and lock dates and looked at how we can get help as well. So if you encounter any obstacles, you're able to contact support, review any additional tools that B2G now has available for you, or attend further training classes.
Okay, so we've learned a lot, both on the intro to the system, certification functions, as well as compliance functions that you'll be interacting with in the system. So now it's time for our Q&A, and we've got a few questions. I'm going to start at the top. I was trying to keep an eye on them. I also have the chat open, so I'm looking at both screens just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So our first question is, will there be replays of this video available? And is there a document how-to available? Yes. All the training sessions for vendors are being recorded and they're going to be posted on OESBD's YouTube channel. I believe in the chat, Vanetta on our CRO team has been inputting that information. So that link for our YouTube should be there. If not, we'll add it for you, but that's definitely where you can go to look. Once you have access to the system, and I know this was a very common question throughout, so I might as well answer it now. You'll have access to the system, the live system, on the go live date, which is Monday of next week, January 26th. We'll be working with some of our certified firms as we transition the directory over to do some testing, but everyone will have access on January 26th. Regarding how-to resources, we're working on a few aids or little cheat sheets, but you'll find once you access the system itself, the resource center or the help center is chock full of information, both videos as well as in document format. But we'll make sure that you've got some resources especially when you first start navigating the system. The second question is, how do we get to the homepage? Well, we are going to email everyone who signed up for the session with that information, but more importantly, on OESBD's website. If you go on our webpage right now, and I just did it really quickly, one of the first things you'll see towards the top of the page is a hyperlink to our new business management system page. If you click on that, you'll see updates regarding the system. The access link will be there as well. And through that link, you'll be able to create your user profiles. Let's see. Is Broward County supposed to create my account for submitting MURs? Excellent question. The way it's going to work is all ongoing contracts already awarded, and future contracts will be inputted into the system by staff. If the contract's already ongoing, then we would have inputted all of the primes vendors. If in the future you add new vendors, you're going to need to add them in the system. Um, Regarding the MURs, we're no longer using MURs. You might have heard in one of the sessions, the reference is to audits. So the MUR process is essentially the audit process in the BMS system. It's two-pronged. So on the one hand, the system is going to be pulling information from Broward County's financial system, and it's going to be reporting when primes get paid. Then it's going to prompt the prime to go ahead and report the payments for its upper tier or lower tier subs, certified and non-certified. Then once the prime reports that, it's going to send a prompt via email to the subs, and they in turn will have to go in and verify, one, they were paid the reported amount, and two, the date on which they were paid. This will allow us to check for prompt payment. So the answer is yes and no. If you already have a contract with Broward County that has small business program requirements, that contract will be in this system. If it's not subject to any of Broward County's local or federal small business programs, it would not be in the BMS system. And I just want to punctuate, BMS is used for certification as well as for contract monitoring post-award. Solicitations will still be in Broward County's procurement system, or BPRO, and that's going to be pre-award. So two different systems for two different functions, but of course, certification does tie into procurement because you'll be looking for small businesses when you're trying to meet those goals. So the certification directory is in BMS. I just wanted to clarify that. Let's see. If you're a joint venture, is there only account login for the JV for each partner company within the JV? Okay, I understand. I think there was a slight typo. The question is, for joint ventures, will there be a login for the entity or will there be a login for the individual companies? I don't know who wrote that question. It's a really good question. It's almost a trick question. The reason I say that is because a joint venture is comprised of separate existing companies that come together to form a new entity for a specific purpose and for a specific period. So if the joint venture has a contract that's subject to federal small business programs or local small business programs, such as our CBE, SBE, County Business Enterprise, Small Business Enterprise, or the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, then that entity, once they have a contract, would be listed, the joint venture, as the entity that was awarded the contract. Now, the companies that combine the joint venture, if the joint venture has allocated John Brown from company X to report during the audit process, then John Brown would be in the system as a person who is going to be reporting. But the listing, the entity to which the contract would be tied, would be the joint venture. I hope that answered the question. There's another. How do we sign up if we, okay, I think I answered that one. You won't be able to actually log in and access the live system. We're still porting over the remnants of our certification directory. So we don't want to give everyone access until the go live, which is Monday, January 26th, at which point you'll be encouraged to go in check to see if you have an account before you create one. I did see questions further down. I'll just mention it now, and then as we pass it, I'll reference it again. If you happen to be, you'll notice BMS, the Business Management System, is Broward County's module that's powered by B2G Now. B2G Now is an international company. It's used across the United States. And so if you're already registered with another entity other than Broward County that uses a system powered by B2G Now, you very likely already have an account. So I would suggest starting with account lookup. And if you can't find an account tied to your company, and it's going to use the company name and most likely your tax ID number or FEIN number to check, and it'll tell you if you have one already or not. If you don't, then you go in and you create one. But if you already have one, you don't need to duplicate it. Let's see the next question. What if my renewal was submitted in the old system before it was pulled? What happens to that application? Good question. One of the reasons that we took down the existing portal was to ensure that nobody gets left behind. So if an application was submitted before January 5th, which was when the online certification system was taken down, our certification team is already aware of that application and will be processing it once the new system is up and the components of the directory are transported over. So don't worry, we've got you. And you will not, if your expiration date happened to coincide with the period when it was down, you will not be dropped. We're going to give you a grace period where we'll allow you to complete your renewal process. Okay, next question. Broward County is supposed to create my account for submitting the MUR. We're going to be inputting, and we already have inputted all existing contracts that are subject to our small business programs, whether it's an ordinance like the CBE-SBE program or federal in nature like the DBE-ACDBE program. We still have active contracts under that federal program or those federal programs. So yes, those would already be in the system. And you would need to go in and initiate the reporting process. So yes, we have set up the contracts for you for the existing ones, and we will for future ones, but the primes would have to go in and add any subs, particularly if they're not certified, because we are going to be doing prompt payment verifications for all vendors participating, particularly under the DBE program. It does reference that prompt payment needs to be monitored for all firms, not just certified DBE firms. So that section of the portal will be very helpful. Could you please share the recording of this session? Also, could you please provide, okay, the B2G link part we've already answered, and the recording will be available to everyone on our YouTube channel. Let's see, is this the same process if you're a new vendor registering for the first time? Yes, what was reviewed in both training sessions, I think addressed what vendors would do if they're brand new to the system, never had an account before, as well as if they have one. And again, my suggestion, my strong suggestion, is to always use the account lookup button at the very, very middle, just below the picture of the screen, and check to see if your company already has an account. And then you can decide if you want to request one or not. I don't believe you mentioned, okay, we already addressed that one for the active system. Will you be sending a link? Yep. Same one there. That was a common question. If you have more than one business, do you need to have all of them certified? And if so, is there a way to link them so they're associated? Really good question. If you have more than one business that you would like to participate and be counted towards the small business participation goal on a contract, they would have to be certified. And in terms of linking them in the system, your FEIN number should be unique for each company, unless, of course, you're a sole proprietor, in which case they may end up being linked. So it's an it depends kind of scenario. But yes, the short answer is you would need to have each of them certified because they would be separate entities. Do I have to have a B2G Now paid account or can we join through it's actually the county's portal, but no, you don't have to have a paid account yourself as long as it's one of our Broward County contracts they're interacting with, you can simply use our system. How do we get, okay, we already did that one for the homepage to register. Let's see. A similar question. Yes, if you've got more than one business entity that you would like to participate as a small business in meeting a small business goal. So, for example, hypothetically, let's say there is a 25% county business enterprise goal on a Broward County contract. And let's say your company wants to participate to help a prime vendor meet that 25%. You'd have to be CBE certified in order for that prime to be able to count you. So, yes, you'd have to have each business certified if you want to be counted. Now, you don't have to be certified to participate on Broward County contracts, but if you're eligible, it doesn't hurt and it gives you that added opportunity of being a subcontractor to another vendor that does need to meet a goal. Moving on to the next question. Will I still need to recertify for the DBE ACDBE program since it no longer exists? I want to correct that statement. It does exist. But the other part of the question is, what happens with the current contracts that are affected by this recertification? Okay, that's a really good question. The first portion of the question asks, do I need to recertify? The reality is on October 3rd, the federal government issued an interim final rule. And based on that interim final rule, eligibility requirements for certification under the federal DBE and ACDBE programs were changed. The criteria for determining whether or not you meet the social disadvantaged component of the program, there's two. There's economic disadvantage and social disadvantage. The social disadvantage criteria changed. As a part of that IFR, it directed certifiers. Broward County is a certifier under the DBE ACDB program in the state of Florida to reevaluate all firms that were listed in the state's DBE directory. So what's going to happen, and very soon, we're going to be sharing information with firms that we certified. In other words, where the jurisdiction of original certification for these DBEs and ACDBEs. And we're going to be doing that process in the system, in the BMS. There will be an option if you decide to opt out. You are able to let us know if you don't want to participate in the reevaluation process. You can indicate that. But otherwise, we are going to guide you through that process where you're going to submit your personal net worth statement and your personal narrative. So we'll be sharing more information on that process with the firms that Broward County has certified because each certifying entity under the Florida UCP has to complete that process before and report it to USDOT before the state is able to continue saying whether or not those firms are currently DBE, ACDBE certified. So the federal program never went away. 49 CFR parts 23 and 26 are still in effect and for ongoing contracts. What it does mean, however, is until the reevaluation process is completed, we can't officially count participation until the time that we can definitively say, based on the new criteria, that those firms can continue to be called DBE and ACDBE. I hope that helps. Next question. Hi, I would like to start creating my account. Okay, that was a very popular question, but yes, we'll have to wait until the 26th. The system looks like the same as for Miami-Dade, and you're right, the same layout would be the same for any other system powered by B2G Now. No, if you already have an account with an existing entity that uses B2G Now, whether it's Miami-Dade, I think the Greater Orlando Airport Authority, GOA, uses it. There are several entities around the country that use it. If you already have an account, a vendor account with any of those entities, that account can be used with our system, with the business management system. So you don't have to create it. In fact, you're encouraged to check to see if you have one already before you attempt to create one. I think the system has a fail-safe, so it won't let you create a second one if you've got one already. Okay, next question. If I have B2G now with, okay, got that one. It was a similar question. Uh, good morning. Good morning. Has the county changed the requirements for being an SBE firm? If SBE is intended to mean small business enterprise, which is one of the certifications we offer under our local program, no, it has not. I'm looking at the website right now just to make sure. And no, nothing has changed. The criteria is still the same. It's $1.32 million for personal net worth for the owner. The owners cannot be greater than 1.32 million. And we've got different criteria based on whether you perform construction, commodities, professional services. So definitely check the website, but no, it has not changed. Let's see what else. It never said how to create an account, or did I miss something? Cheryl. Cheryl's a supervisor for our certification team. No, I think she's just messing with me. We're still not going to do it until the 26th. The next question is, when will we receive access to this new system? The 26th. Good question. A very popular question, as I said before. I'm going to skip the next one because it's tied to that one as well about registering. So is that one. Bear with me while I scroll through. If we already hit it, I'm just going to skip it. Okay. The site will be ready on the 26th. What if your certification is due by then? What happens to your certification? Don't worry, you are not going to fall out of the directory. We are aware of the transition period and that it affected some firms that had anniversary dates around this period or leading up to this period, because ideally you should have already submitted it if your anniversary date is this week or last week. But we will be giving a grace period to everyone to give them an opportunity to submit documents that should have been submitted, but they have not yet been. Will we be receiving the audit notices for January? And will they be taking place at the monthly utilization report we would normally send by February 10th for January? Really good question. Yes. So the system goes live on January 26th. You may be aware with our reporting process for monthly utilization reports, they're done every month. They report on payments, actual payments made in the previous month, and they're due by the 10th of the month. So the payments for the month of January would be due by February 10th, and you would be indicating those in the BMS system. So the first time we're going to be getting audit reports is going to be for payments made in January, which are due by February 10th. Next question. Do all ACDBEs need to use this portal, or is it fine as long as one point person from the JV uses this for reporting? Excellent question. There is actually going to be a concessions portal, which is separate from the contract portal. In the concessions portal, we're going to have all of our existing concession agreements and management agreements at FLL, the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, similar to our ongoing contracts that have DBE, CBE requirements and SBE requirements. We've put those ACDBE agreements in the concessions portal. And I did jot down, we have a training coming up tomorrow, Thursday, January 22nd at 9:30 a.m. for those of you who are interested in more information about the application renewal of certification process. That's happening at 9:30. You can register for it similar to how you registered for this session. Also, in the afternoon at 1 p.m. tomorrow, January 22nd, will be the concessions training module for the BMS. So if you are a concessionaire, and specifically concessionaires subject to the Federal Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, or ACDBE, that's definitely a training session you want to check out. Let's see. Next question. How do I log into the system when I use, okay, we got that one already. Login page, related question. I have a training contract with Broward County. Payments are handled through FAU OIG. Will they now be moved to this system? Based on the information you've provided, it doesn't sound like it would be. Our human resources rather, division has training contracts, if this is one of them. It would not be randomly reported in our system. However, if OESBD had reviewed that contract before it was awarded for a small business participation goal and one was assigned, then the contract would be in our system. But it's rare when the training contracts are in the system. So it's possible, but very unlikely. Will the subs be added to each contract for primes? For ongoing contracts, all certified firms have been added in the system by my team. But in the future, moving forward, if you make a change, if you add a new firm, you will need to add them through the portal link in the BMS system. Will the subs be added? Same question. Is there an existing ongoing contract with the county? Will it be added to the system? Yes. If there's already an agreement with that is subject, the small business programs, federal or local, it will be added to the BMS portal. If it is not subject to small business requirements, it will not be there. I'm new. Any opportunities for restaurants and catering? Um, there are some. I will be honest. I will have to check to see maybe frequency. I think the convention center has an agreement where they occasionally ask for restaurant-related services. Anonymous, if you go ahead and shoot me an email, my email address is D like Donna, Knapp. So D, K as in King, N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, P as in Peter, P as in Peter, at broward.org. I'll go ahead and see what is out there, what possible opportunities there are, and then we'll share that with you. Full disclosure, there aren't usually as many as there are for, construction related trades or janitorial, but there are some that pop up. So we'll look into that for you. Let's see. Regarding the prime's responsibility to report on the subs, would this be initiated by the prime? Yes. Once the prime goes into the system, into the audit process and starts inputting the payments for each of its subs, that will initiate the prompt through the system to the subcontractors to then verify that payment as well as provide us information on when it was made and if it was accurate. Let's see. What if our company pays sub-consultants net 30 and not net 10? Okay, good question, Heather. The training session that you saw, the I think one of the screens may have referenced 10, as in 10 days, calendar days. I think it's a default in the system. Not every contract is going to have that 10-day functionality. So, for example, it ties into prompt payment requirements under our small business programs. If it's the federal DBE program and it's non-construction, prompt payment is 15 days from the prime's receipt of payment. Of course, if you do it sooner, great. You just can't do it longer than that period of time. If it's construction, it's within 10 days of the prime's receipt of payment. Under our local CBE program, it's within 15 days of the prime's receipt of payment from the county. So if your net 30 is on a contract where we have small business requirements, you may have to adjust that. But the system will have a setting where my team will go in and they'll set it to the appropriate requirement for the appropriate program type. If this is a contract that's not subject to small business requirements, then of course that prompt payment would not apply. But if it does, then the applicable prompt payment requirement would be in the system and you would be able to see that, and we can always help you with that. And if it's a county contract that's current, and you want to shoot me an email, and give me the contract number, we can always check and confirm for you. Can you please say what the name? Oh, same thing. The BMS site, you won't have access to that until the 26th. But if you missed it when I said it before, we are going to follow up with everyone that registered for the training and share that link, for the live website so that you can go into the system and check to see if you have an account. And if you don't, you can create one. If you already have one, maybe you forgot the password, it'll prompt you through the steps to create a new one. Um, and again, we're going to also update our website so that information will be there as well. Let's see. We're almost there. We had a lot of questions. That one is also access. Okay. How can I get certified with Broward County? Really good question, Shrika. We have a few avenues available. I'd encourage you, one, to reach out to our office. You can either shoot me an email or you can send an email to our certification team at their designated mailbox, which is S as in Sam, B as in boy, C as in cat, E as in echo, R as in Robert, T as in tango, SBCert at broward.org. And we can give you more guidance and more information on the programs that we have. Let's see. Same question there. What are you, when are you having a course on how to get a certification for small business minority? Okay, good question. We actually have, if you mean in terms of accessing the system, which is where you would complete the certification applications, whether for the tongue twister, whether for the federal or the local small business certification programs, we've got one coming up tomorrow morning at 9:30, another Zoom session. So please feel free to go ahead and register for that. Let's see, next question. What is turnaround time approximately from initial request for certification to receiving a Broward certification? It varies on whether it's the local or the federal program. Currently, as I mentioned before, Broward County is focusing on completing the reevaluation process as mandated under the interim final rule. So we're not currently processing new applications. I believe USDOT is going to be issuing an updated application regardless, but we're focusing on the reevaluation process because we won't be able to count firms as DBE or ACDBE certified until the entire UCP body, the certifying entities within the state of Florida, rather, complete that process. If it's for the local program, we have had a little bit of a backlog. So that's been 30 to 45 business days. We have a lot of contracts that are being issued under our CBE program, especially that are tied to our surtax program. A lot of transportation infrastructure projects are being issued both through municipalities that are funded through the county's surtax program, which I should add, those contracts that receive surtax funding from Broward County that are municipal contracts will also be in the BMS system, the ones that are subject to CBE participation goals. How do I get a login? Okay, we already did that one. Can we get a preview of what we need to renew our certification, or is it the same as last year? If it's for the local program, it's going to be the exact same information. We are going to, you'll realize when you log into the BMS system, when you actually access the certification portion, it is very intuitive. It guides you through the process. It lists the documents you need to upload, and you won't be able to complete that upload process until you attach the required documents. Now, if you put a picture of your cat, it'll send it through, but we'll contact you and send it back and say that's not the document that's needed. So it's the same as previously. If it's for the federal program, that is still on hold until we complete the reevaluation process. And of course, we'll be sharing more information with those firms that were DBE and ACDBE certified in good standing prior to the IFR. And we'll explain how you can engage in that reevaluation process. If one of my businesses is already certified, can I subcontract a contract to another one of my companies? Hmm. Um, well, the first question that comes to mind, which might not be the right question, is it's a little unusual to have two separate businesses that engage in the exact same related industries, but if they're separate entities that are certified and in good standing, it is possible to do so. I can't, off the top of my head, think of a reason why not if they're in different industries, especially, but I would need to know a little bit more about the circumstances. Um, how do you now get certified? You would apply for certification in the BMS portal. You'd complete a new application. Right now, we're only processing for new applications under the local program. So that would be CBE, County Business Enterprise Certifications, and SBE, Small Business Enterprise Certifications. Those two certifications are specifically for businesses located and operating in Broward County. They're designed for Broward County businesses. We will be providing additional information once we complete the reevaluation process for the federal DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, and ACDBE, Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, those federal small business programs. What are the requirements to sign up? Okay, I think we already went through that one. If our certification expires during this new process, no, you won't lose your certification. If it's within the window, I think we're giving a 60-day grace period, not for somebody who should have renewed, say in October of last year, but if you're butting up on when you would normally be able to input in we're going to call it the old portal, the one that was taken down, we will work with you to allow you to complete that process. Let's see, next question. If we're registered and certified in Miami-Dade, what do we need to do to start providing services to Broward as well? Okay. Um, that question is twofold. I'm going to go a little bit faster. I think a lot of the repeat questions have been answered. There's only three left, so we're almost there. Just bear with me. If you're registered and certified in Miami-Dade County, um, currently we're not issuing goals for the federal DBE ACDBE program because we can't count firms as DBE ACDBE until that reevaluation process is completed. That federal DBE ACDBE program is a national program, and so you would be able to participate on any contracts once you're certified by a certifying member of the Florida UCP for the federal program. If you're referring to the local program, that certification that you have in Miami-Dade County would not be reciprocal in Broward County. Our CBE SBE program is specifically for Broward County firms, but that does not mean that you can't do business with Broward County. You would simply go to our purchasing division's website, which is www.broward.org/purchasing. You'll see a link for the Broward Procurement System, or BPRO for short, and then you become a registered vendor in BPRO. You can see all the solicitations that Broward County is posting that are competitively solicited, and you can bid either as a sub or as a prime. You just wouldn't be able to represent yourself as a certified small business under Broward County's local programs. Last two questions. Does jurisdiction of original certification, oh, JOC was not for the federal JOC. Does JOC CBE projects fall under the 10-day prompt payment requirement for primes to subs? If JOC is what you're referring to as in job order contracts, if we established a small business goal, a CBE goal, it would. And the last question, and it would be 15, not 10 days. Our contracts stipulate retainage to be held. We cannot remit payment in full to subs without being paid in full. Um, okay, I would say provided you are paid and you owe payments to your subs, they would need to be paid promptly within the applicable time frame. If it's a local program, it would be 15 days. So if you're released retainage, you would be expected to in turn release retainage either under the local or federal program. And I think that was the last question. Nope, almost there. Nope, that's it. We did it. We went over. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We had a really, really good Q&A session. Hopefully, we answered all of your questions. If we did not, please feel free to, you can email me, dnap@broward.org, and we'll try to turn around and send those questions, those responses rather, back to you. That's it for now. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. And remember, those 2 training sessions coming up tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for certifications and 1 p.m. tomorrow for concessions. Thank you. Bye-bye.